Let's dive into this content deep dive. I gotta say, going through these notes and articles you sent got me thinking we are in for some serious eye-opening stuff today.
It's really something, isn't it? Like seeing how it all connects, you know?
Totally. And speaking of connections, one thing that stood out from your EBS470 notes was that whole content culture idea. Not just like pumping out content, but making it a part of everything. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's crucial. Absolute crucial, especially now with how digital everything is. When you've got content champion within an organization, it's like this ripple effect happens, you know? Teams are more likely to work together, bounce ideas around, and be more creative. It's like everyone gets power of content and feels like they can contribute.
And your notes mention that a strong content culture can actually mean better content overall. It's like everyone's on board and the quality just naturally improves.
For sure. And on top of that, you start to develop a more recognizable and consistent voice for your brand, which is so important for building trust with your audience. They start to see you as this reliable source of good information.
And that makes them more likely to stick around, engage with the content, and tell everyone else about it. It's about building a loyal following.
Exactly. And that kind of loyalty is priceless in such a competitive market. And speaking of loyalty, one of the things I noticed in your notes was this bit about the psychology of habits, particularly the Pinterest example.
Oh yeah, that trigger action reward loop. Really makes you realize how much our brains just crave those little dopamine hits, huh?
No kidding. Understanding how that loop works is key when you're creating engaging content. Just think about it. Scrolling through Pinterest, something catches your eye. That's the trigger, right? And you click on an action. And you're rewarded with something interesting, maybe even inspiring. Makes you want to just keep on scrolling.
Explains why I can lose hours on that site. But how do we, as content creators, use that same psychology to our advantage?
It's all about figuring out your audience's triggers. Then you deliver those little rewards that keep them coming back. It's about asking yourself, what grabs their attention? What do they find valuable enough to share?
So it's more than just good content. It's about tapping into those, like, primal urges, right? We need to be the Pinterest of our niche.
You got it. Figure out what makes your audience tick and deliver on that. And speaking of things that grab attention, your notes mention the whole challenge of keeping people engaged in this world of endless scrolling and short attention spans.
Tell me about it. I feel like I can spot clickbait a mile away, but I still fall for it sometimes.
Happens to us all. And it's exactly why we need to understand the power of what Tanya Wells calls micro content in her article. It's all about grabbing those tiny windows of attention and making them count.
That article was full of good stuff. Like, instead of hitting people with these massive walls of text, it's about giving them these little bite-sized pieces of information.
Exactly. It's like you're respecting their time,
Yeah.
you know, recognizing how people actually consume information these days with everything moving so fast. A short, impactful list or an eye-catching graphic, sometimes that's all it takes to really stick with someone.
It's like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but like on steroids.
Right. And Wells also makes a really good point about focusing on impact over just creating buzz.
So true. It's easy to get caught up in all the likes and shares, but those don't always mean people are really engaging with what you're putting out there.
Yeah, you could have a tweet go viral and get tons of retweets, but if
Yeah.
it doesn't actually lead to any real change or action, it's basically meaningless.
Whereas impactful content sticks with you, makes you think differently, maybe even changes your behavior. How do we, as content creators, crack that code? How do we make content that really grabs people?
Well, your EBS470 notes had some fascinating points about what makes people pay attention. It all comes down to our basic instincts.
Okay, now you've got me curious. Lay it on me.
One of the biggest ones is disruption. Think about those times when you're scrolling and then bam, something totally unexpected grabs your attention.
Like a plot twist.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're glued to the screen wondering what's going to happen.
Exactly. As content creators, we need to find ways to be that plot twist. Shake things up a bit, you know?
I love that. What else gets those brain juices flowing?
Well, we're hardwired to seek rewards. So if you can offer your audience something valuable, knowledge, entertainment, a solution to a problem, they're going to be much more likely to pay attention.
It's that feeling of, oh, I learned something new, or that was clever, I'm going to try that.
Exactly. Give them a reason to choose your content, something valuable in exchange for their time.
This is great stuff. But I'm realizing we've been talking about content pretty generally. There are so many different ways to share content online.
So true. Understanding the different models out there can really help you refine your strategy. It's not one size fits all.
Right. And my EBS470 notes actually covered some of the most common ones. Hit me with it.
Well, let's see. There's the peer-to-peer model. Etsy is a great example about creators selling directly to buyers, often with a big emphasis on those unique handcrafted items.
Right. And the content on those platforms isn't just about making a sale. It's about telling the story behind the product, the maker, the whole process.
Yeah, it's about making a connection. And then there's your more traditional online retailers, like the one from your notes, 1-800-flowers.com.
They've really nailed that emotional marketing, haven't they? A bouquet of flowers isn't just a product. It's a symbol of love or celebration. Opens up so many possibilities for content.
For sure. They tap into those feelings we all share and build their content around holidays, special occasions, those key moments in life, things their target audience can relate to.
Okay, so we've got peer-to-peer, online retail.
Mm-hmm.
But what about all the free content out there? I know my EBS 470 notes talked about the value of free, but it always seemed kind of counterintuitive, you know? Why give away the good stuff for free? It's like giving away the secret sauce, right? Why not charge for it?
It's about the long game. Think of it like an investment. You're giving away free content to get people interested, build that trust, become the go-to expert.
So you're focusing on the relationship first, and then the payoff comes later.
Exactly. Your notes mentioned a few key benefits of offering free content. Entertainment, for one. Giving people something to enjoy, connect with on an emotional level.
And people are way more likely to share something they enjoyed with friends, which is basically free advertising for you.
Exactly. Then there's inspiration. You can create content that motivates people, pushes them towards their goals. You know, think about all the times you've seen a quote or a story online that really resonated and maybe even inspired you to make a change.
Oh, all the time.
Ah,
Especially those stories about people overcoming obstacles. It's like a little boost of motivation right when you need it.
right. And then, of course, there's education. Sharing what you know, giving people those valuable insights, positions you as a trusted source of information.
Which builds credibility and trust. Key for turning those casual readers into diehard fans. But how do we package all this free stuff? My notes mention something called entry point offers. Is that what it sounds like?
Yep. Think of it as strategically using free content to draw people in. Like when you get those free samples at the grocery store, one little taste and you're hooked.
Okay, I get it. So what kind of content samples are we talking about here?
Your notes mention three main types. First up, ungated offers. That's content that's totally free, no strings attached.
Like blog posts, videos, that sort of thing. The stuff you just find out there in the wild.
Exactly. Then there's gated offers. This is where you ask your audience for a little something in return for that valuable content, usually an email address.
So it could be like a downloadable guide or a webinar.
Right. You offer something valuable, and in exchange, you get to connect with your audience on a deeper level.
Win-win. What's the third type of offer?
That would be the deep discount offer. You're encouraging people to make a purchase, but at a price that feels like a steal.
So that's the bridge between free and, well, not exactly free.
Exactly. A low-risk way to showcase what you offer. Hopefully they love it so much they'll become paying customers.
Like a gateway to your premium content. Speaking of gateways to a whole new world, we can't forget about AI.
Ah, yes, AI. I know it can seem intimidating, like it's this mysterious force that's going to take over everything.
A little bit.
It's understandable. AI is moving so fast, but at the end of the day, it's just a tool. And it can actually help us be even more creative and create content that really packs a punch.
So we should be embracing it, not running away from it.
For sure. But before we get into specific tools, let's define a few things. You know, your notes mention AI, machine learning, and deep learning. They get thrown around a lot, but they actually mean slightly different things.
Yeah, that's one of the things I always get tripped up on. Can you break it down?
Of course. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is the umbrella term. It's all about machines mimicking human intelligence.
Okay, that makes sense. So where do machine learning and deep learning come in?
So machine learning is part of AI, where machines can learn from data without someone having to program every little detail. Imagine teaching a dog a trick. You don't give it a step-by-step manual, right? You show it what to do, and it learns through trial and error.
So it's learning by doing.
Exactly. Deep learning takes it a step further. It uses these artificial neural networks that are actually inspired by the human brain to process information in a more complex way.
Whoa, okay, that's getting a little sci-fi for me, but I'm following along. How does this apply to me? How can I use it to be a better content creator?
The main thing is AI can help us analyze tons of data, find patterns, understand what our audience responds to in ways we might not be able to on our own.
Like having a superpowered research assistant.
Exactly. It can take care of those boring, repetitive tasks, too, like scheduling social media posts, grammar and spelling checks, even coming up with content ideas. That frees us up to focus on the creative stuff, the strategy things only humans can do.
This is amazing. I got to be honest, though, I'm still a little unsure of how to actually use AI in my own process. Any tools you'd recommend for someone just starting out?
Absolutely. There are so many incredible AI tools out there. Your notes actually mentioned a few.
Okay, let's hear your top picks.
Well, for starters, there's Grammarly. You've probably heard of it.
Oh yeah, Grammarly is my savior. It's caught so many typos I've missed.
It's a lifesaver. But it's more than just a spell checker. It uses AI to analyze your writing, suggest ways to make it clearer and more concise. It can even check for plagiarism.
No more accidental copying. Awesome. What else you got?
Another one is Pro Writing Aid. It has a lot of similar features to Grammarly, but takes it up a notch. Looks at sentence structure, overused words, even helps you spot passive voice.
Okay, that's next level. Got to make that writing sing. But what about those times when you hit a wall and the ideas just aren't flowing? Are there AI tools for that?
Definitely. There are AI blog topic generators. You plug in a keyword or two, and it gives you a whole list of potential blog post titles and outlines.
No more staring at a blank page. Love it. This is all so exciting, but I'm also a little overwhelmed. It's a lot to take in. Where do we even begin to put all this into practice?
That's a great question. And it brings us back to having a clear content strategy. Start by figuring out your goals. What do you want to achieve with your content?
Right, makes sense. Define your goals, then you can figure out the right tools and strategies to reach them.
Exactly. And remember, AI is here to help us, not replace us. It's all about finding that balance between our creativity and what technology can do.
This deep dive has been amazing. Thank you for taking this journey with me.
You got it. It's been a pleasure.
I'm feeling so inspired. I can't wait to see what we create.